Imagine this, it's 1869 in upstate New York, and a couple of guys digging a well unearth what appears to be a 10-foot-tall petrified man. The discovery triggers a national frenzy, with scientists and religious leaders furiously debating where it came from. But what if the greatest find of the century was actually its greatest hoax? This is the story of the Cardiff Giant and the man who conned a nation just to prove a point about belief itself. It's a tale of faith, science, and the magnetic pull of a good story, a spectacle so huge it captured an entire country and pitted of history's greatest showmen against each other over a man made of stone. Section 1. The discovery. Our story kicks off on October 16, 1869, on a farm in Cardiff, New York, a little spot just south of Syracuse. The farm belonged to William Stubb Newell, and on that cool autumn morning, he hired two workers, Gideon Emmons and Henry Nichols, to dig a new well behind his barn. They were only about 3 feet down when their shovels hit something hard. This wasn't just a rock. As they cleared away the dirt, they uncovered a massive stone foot. Frantically, they dug further, and a whole figure emerged, the body of a colossal, 10-foot-tall man, lying on its back. Word of the find spread like wildfire. One of the diggers reportedly exclaimed, "I declare, some old Indian has been buried here." Newell, putting on his best surprised face, threw a tent over the figure and started charging visitors 25 cents to see the marvel. As word got out, the price quickly doubled to 50 cents, and thousands of people started flocking from all over to see the petrified man. The quiet town of Cardiff was suddenly a booming tourist trap. Its hotels and restaurants had never seen so much business. The whole nation was captivated. Was this an American Goliath? Was it proof of a lost race of giants? The debate was on, and America was hooked. Section 2. The sensation. The Cardiff Giant didn't just become famous, it was an explosion, tapping right into the anxieties of post-Civil War America. It was an era of intense change, where scientific breakthroughs like Darwin's theory of evolution were clashing head-on with traditional religious beliefs. The giant became a flashpoint. For many believers, this was physical proof that the Bible was literally true. They pointed to Genesis 6:4, which says, "There were giants in the earth in those days, and saw the Cardiff man as one of them." Newspapers fanned the flames with sensational headlines, basically inviting the public to come and decide for themselves. The scientific community was completely split. Some scholars called it a fake right away. Others weren't so sure. One top state geologist, James Hall, called it the most remarkable archaeological discovery ever made in this country, though he guessed it was an ancient statue, not a petrified man. Another expert suggested it might be a statue carved centuries ago by a Jesuit priest to impress local Native American tribes. The public was left to wonder, and that wonder turned out to be incredibly profitable. People weren't just looking at a stone figure, they were seeing what they wanted to see, proof of their faith, a scientific mystery, or just one heck of a show. Section 3. The mastermind and his motives. Though, who was the mastermind behind this grand illusion? A cigar salesman from Binghamton, New York, named George Hull, who also happened to be Stubb Newell's relative. Hull was a dedicated atheist, a pretty bold stance in the deeply religious world of 19th century America. The whole idea for this elaborate hoax came from an argument he had with a Methodist minister, who was insisting on a literal reading of the Bible, giants and all. Hull was so baffled by this level of belief that he came up with a plan, not just to make a fortune, but to prove a point about how easily people can be fooled. His plan was incredibly detailed. In 1868, Hull went to Fort Dodge, Iowa, and bought a massive 11-foot block of gypsum, telling people it was for a monument to Abraham Lincoln. He then shipped the nearly 5-ton block to Chicago, where he hired German stonecutters to carve it into the shape of a giant man, using himself as the model. To make it look ancient, Hull and his team beat the statue with steel knitting needles to create skin pores, and then doused it with sulfuric acid for an aged, weathered look. The final product was a 10-foot, 3,000-pound stone man. In November 1868, a full year before it was found, Hull secretly brought the giant to his cousin's farm in Cardiff and buried it. The whole scheme cost him over $2,600, a fortune at the time, but it was a bet he was sure would pay off. Section 4. The Barnum Effect. As the giant's fame skyrocketed, it naturally caught the eye of the greatest showman of the era, Phineas T. Barnum. Barnum saw the giant for exactly what it was, a golden opportunity. After a syndicate led by a man named David Hannum bought the giant and moved it to Syracuse, Barnum offered them a wild $50,000 to buy it. They said no. Never one to be stopped, Barnum did what he did best, he made his own. He secretly hired a sculptor to create a plaster replica, and started showing it at his museum in New York City. In a brilliant marketing move, he claimed his giant was the real one and the one in Cardiff was the fake. His ads were tantalizing. Is it a statue? Is it a petrification? Is it a stupendous fraud? The public, fascinated by the drama, flocked to see Barnum's version, which often drew bigger crowds than the original. This led the original giant's owners to sue Barnum. But the case got tossed out when a judge reportedly said Barnum couldn't be sued for calling a fake giant a fake, and told the plaintiff to get his giant to swear on his own genuineness in court. And that famous phrase, "There's a sucker born every minute," that wasn't Barnum. It was reportedly David Hannum, the owner of the original fake, who said it out of frustration as he watched crowds pay to see Barnum's copy. Section 5. The Unraveling. While Barnum was busy making a fake of a fake, the original hoax started to fall apart. As the giant was toured through major cities, it came under much closer scrutiny. The final nail in the coffin came from Othni L.C. Marsh, a well-respected paleontologist from Yale University. After just a quick look, Marsh declared the giant a most decided humbug. He pointed out that it was made of gypsum, a soft stone that dissolves in water and would have fallen apart in the wet New York soil if it had actually been buried for centuries. Plus, he noted that fresh tool marks were still visible on the statue's surface, marks that wouldn't have survived underground. The evidence just kept piling up. People in Cardiff started to remember seeing Hull move a suspiciously huge crate through town the year before. With his secret leaking, George Hull, who had already sold his share for a nice profit, started bragging about his deception. On December 10, 1869, he gave a full confession to the press, proudly admitting he created the giant to expose just how gullible people were. By February 1870, the Cardiff Giant was officially declared a fraud in court. The great American giant had been toppled. Section 6. The Aftermath and Legacy. You'd think a confession would kill the show, right? Wrong. The strange appeal of the Cardiff Giant just wouldn't die. Even after everyone knew it was a fake, people still lined up and paid to see Old Hoaxy, as it was affectionately called. The story of the hoax itself was, in its own way, just as entertaining as the mystery. People were fascinated by the sheer guts of a guy who fooled so many experts, preachers, and everyday citizens. The Cardiff Giant's legacy is a powerful cautionary tale about belief, media hype, and our deep-seated desire for wonder. It was a huge embarrassment for the scholars who were duped, and it pushed the field of American archaeology to become more professional and rigorous. The story even became a cultural touchstone, inspiring a short story by Mark Twain. George Hull walked away with a big profit and even more notoriety. He tried to cook up other hoaxes, but he never again captured the public's imagination, like he did with his stone man. He reportedly died proud of the time he fooled the world. The Cardiff Giant story is a fascinating look into the psychology of belief and deception. What's one story you were absolutely certain was true, only to find out it was a complete fabrication? Let us know in the comments. And if you enjoyed this dive into one of history's greatest hoaxes, make sure to hit that like button, and subscribe for more stories that prove truth is often stranger than fiction. In the end, the Cardiff Giant was never a petrified man from a biblical past. It was something else, something uniquely American, a product of cleverness, skepticism, and pure showmanship, all born in an era of massive cultural change. The giant itself may have been a lie, but the story it tells us about America is undeniably true. And if you want to see this legendary piece of history for yourself, the original Cardiff Giant, all 10 feet of a tobacconist's brilliant deception, can still be seen today, resting quietly at the Farmers Museum in Cooperstown, New York. It's a permanent reminder that sometimes, the most unbelievable stories are the ones we want to believe the most.